Rising up on the corporate ladder is not for the weak and faint-hearted. It takes something more than mere performance to rise above the rest, to drive your organization from strength to strength, all the while overcoming challenges that come your way is no easy task. And today we, Subgroup B10, are here to take a leaf or two out of one of such giant who slowly but steadily made his way up. So here we are, with none other than the man himself, Mr. Thirusanandan, the CEO of Sunshine Healthcare. Sir, thank you for having us today.
Pleasure to have you to share.
So, to begin off our conversation, can you start by introducing who Thirusanandan is? I mean, apart from what is well known in the public domain, what is your upbringing and what was your background? What brought you here?
So if I tell about myself, I started my schooling at Trinity College and St. Anthony's College, Kandy. So that's where I came in. I started my education, once I finished my education, I started my working life pretty early. I started my work at 19 years old as a medical representative. So I started at Glaxo then, which became GlaxoSmithKline, where I was there for 10 years. And the second part of my career had been with Hemas as a country manager, where I worked for another 10.5 years there. Then from a country manager at Hemas, I upgraded myself for a better career prospects. I joined Delmich, where there was for 4 years. And currently I'm at Sunshine, which is the last 5 years I'm completing next month. So this has been the 4 places I have worked, and total it's about 30 years in the healthcare industry, largely working for pharmaceutical and the medical devices segments.
So we would also like to know how about your beginnings. How and why did you choose to come into this particular profession? What drove you and what made you passionate about it? Also, if you can just share your story of your journey to the top.
Okay, so there, if you see the myth, or in early days what we had is like when we were doing A-levels, either to do bioscience or maths. Of course today you have many streams, and today's I'm happy there are many alternatives. So in my case, the choice given to me was either do bioscience or mathematics. And generally the mix those days was either you become a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer to be successful. But then, though I got through my A-levels, it was not adequate. I did bioscience. It was not adequate to become a doctor, even though, because it's only a small percentage. And there again, the options were only the state universities. Because of that, I looked at options at that time. At 19 years, I looked at options. What are the areas I can still become successful? Given those days, how I can move in. So the options which came in were accounting, banking and marketing. At that time, the little that I knew, these were the 3 options. I chose marketing. And in selecting marketing, again I saw 2 options, consumer marketing and the pharmaceutical marketing, which is known as the medical marketing. Between the two, I saw to my physical eyes, the medical marketing, the looks and feel were very good. The medical reps were like doctors, they were going and meeting doctors, they were given a car, so it was quite attractive. So that's how at young age I came in, and at that time I still remember, I had a feeling if I had to be prosper, if I had to do well, I had to work for the best. At that time when I did the research, the 3 big companies at that time were Glaxo, who were #1, and even globally they were #1. Second was Hemas, Lanka Medical, which is Sunshine now, and Babas. So among that, then I started looking for the vacancies, and luckily for me, those days it was a Sunday Observer. You don't get top jobs or LinkedIn. You have to search for Sunday Observer and look for interviews. And the trainee medical representative vacancy came in, applied, got through, and that's how I entered, and still remain in the same industry for the last 30 years.
So having started from there, I mean, you come up for such a long way and reached, I would say, not the pinnacle, but reached a very high place. I am sure there are plenty more of options for you to traverse upwards. So in this journey, if I ask, corporate leadership can be an extremely challenging venture for anybody, and it's not that everybody is going to succeed. So if you have to take a leaf out of the theories that are commonly known, how would you see yourself as a leader? in your words, how would you model yourself as a bureaucratic leader, as an autocratic leader, as a laissez-faire? There are a lot of theoretical frameworks to it, and it's not that every time we can fit in a theory for each and everything. How do you model yourself within this?
Okay. So my leadership journey really I would say started when I joined HEMAS, where I had to manage a team and also the higher senior management. So I would clearly say I would link the theory also in this case. 30 to 40, I think I'll be honest myself, I think I followed a lot of autocratic. People saw me as a devil, and to get things done, I was more task oriented. Of course, results came in, but if you take my real management style, I was autocratic leader. That's the management style I followed. Then when I become a CEO with a larger force coming in, and maybe with the experience and maturity too, 40 to 50, I think 40 is the time I started the CEO journey. I found I started following more situational leadership, meaning I found the threshold, because earlier autocratic A to B to C, I saw I had the same approach, same tone, same way. But people were reacting differently. Then I started to begin to understand the person. I found that different people have different thresholds. There, I think 40 to 50 journey, I started following the situational leadership based on, say, if you're female, somebody may say unfair. How I react to a situation, same thing you do, I may commit at a different way. So I started practicing that and doing that. 50 plus, I'm completely trying to change. I mean, that transformation change, I want to be a servant leader. Meaning, give back, how to facilitate, help somebody grow. That's what I'm focusing now. I hope I continue that style till my death.
So we know that it is important to have a balanced life with your career and your profession. So in that scope, we know that apart from the extremely hectic corporate life, you're also a mentor, photographer, a toastmaster, and most importantly, an ever-loving father and husband. How do you see their impact in shaping the overall person known as Thiru Sayandan?
Okay, I think the question is aimed at more of a work-life balance, and it's a common buzzword. People say work-life balance. To be honest, for me, I could not separate the work and the life. And if you ask a question how to separate, it's very difficult. For me, it's an integral part, but how do you manage both what is given to a leader or a person or anyone? So you have your personal responsibility, you have your family commitments. On the other side, you have your official commitment and you have something to do at office. So I feel these need to be aligned, and I think COVID had taught many. Initially people thought, okay, when I'm working in office, it was office, and when I go home, I wear a different out, it was home. COVID, work from home, people didn't know which was office, which was work, and they didn't know an answer. So that clearly says both are integral, and we need to have a commitment to fulfill those. We are coming to an era, during official time, I may be called in for a parent-teachers meeting, and during office time, I might have to attend that, which is a personal family commitment. Same way at 7 o'clock in the night or on a Sunday, or hospital might need a product where I might have to wear the office shoes and attend to that need. So how we manage what matters. Add to that, while at home, I personally spend quality time. Instead of quantitative, quality time matters. Instead of physical presence, your mental presence. What's the point going home and physically available, mentally you're cut off from your children and wife. So for me, the physical presence added to mental presence. In addition, I take a lot of breaks, and Sri Lankan calendar has a lot of holidays, and if Thursday is a holiday, I manufacture Friday holiday. So I do breaks, and I have taken local and global holidays, which that's how I've been managing my life. So in addition to the 30-year-old office work, I would say reasonably a good successful 27-year of marriage life as well, both going well because of this formula of mine.
So since you brought up the issue of COVID, let's focus on that. It took everyone by surprise. And being a medical related issue, I'm sure that you faced the heat from the first day onwards that it hit Sri Lanka. There was an overwhelming demand for your products, disruption of supply chains, the lockdown, and then the financial turbulence that followed. And the scenario is just out of this world. How did you navigate Sunshine Healthcare through this? I'm sure nobody would have been able to teach anything on this.
True, you are very true. Because when COVID hit us, we didn't know what to do. And we being in healthcare industry, we were demanded. Our products had to be made available. We could not stay at home. Even during that first 53 days of curfew, we had to, being in essential service, we had to make our products available because the hospitals were functioning and there was a greater demand. So the number one thing is to, when you need to serve them, we have to bring our employees there. So how to bring safety aspects? There was a big fear element running in their mind because in 2020 April, how you have to be safe was the number one thing. Even doctors were wearing the full gowns and they were taking a lot of safety precaution. So giving that assurance how to work safely to serve another was the number one. Being anticipating the challenge and getting prepared for that. We knew the challenges are going to come. There's going to be supply chain issues. So we even increased the stocks of some essential because we knew when it comes there's going to be disruptions, factories may be closed, we may not get our products on time. So anticipating the change, the challenge, and being prepared what really helped us to overcome the situation. Otherwise there will be a lot of hiccups. Of course we did have hiccups, but being prepared and acting on that change helped us to move forward. And I think now more or less entire world has learned to live with COVID and things are moving on.
So Mr. Firuz, and then just like you said you started off your career as a medical rep, and here you're the CEO as well. Just you've recently launched your book From Medical Rep to CEO. Please tell us what you want to share with the future generation and what we can learn from your story.
Okay. So here again, yes, the reason for writing the book was month of December I celebrated my 50th birthday. So initially I thought I'll write my book during retirement, but COVID taught a lesson. We don't know when our life will be taken. So I thought I'm not going to wait till my deathbed or retirement to write the book. At 50, let me write. So initially I thought I'm going to write about my first 50 years of my life. Later I thought that book should help someone else who reads. And what is in me for me factor should serve that person reading than myself. Hence I came out of my career journey, the 30 years from a medical rep to CEO. So if I may show, this is exactly the book I wrote. And here I have spelled out what helped me in my career to grow myself from a medical rep to a CEO, which is just 7 mantras. So if I take, countries have visions, organizations have vision, but if I ask individuals, youngsters, they say, oh, we don't know what you want to become. So why not you have a vision? So like the institution, I always push each individual should have a vision. So that's my number one mantra. Number two mantra is be passionate about that vision. So sometimes we live someone else's life. Parents say, hey, I am a doctor, you become a doctor. Or my sister is a teacher, I am going to become a teacher. No, you want the vision, you be passionate, you live your life. So number two mantra is being passionate. Number three, plan and prioritize. When your vision is embedded in your mind, you know what to do, what to not to do. In the evening, you have 5 options to do. Go to a cinema, go to a PIM class like what you all do. But it depends on your vision. What you want to become will drive what you are going to do in that hour. How you spend your leisure hours. What are the things you will say no, what are the things you will say yes. So number 3 mantra is plan and prioritize. When you do that, the number 4th mantra is change and adapt. In your life, there is a lot of changes. So in my life, I have undergone a lot of changes. One good example I keep always telling is, I'm a Tamil Hindu married to a Sinhalese Catholic. The language is different, the race is different, the culture is different. So you got to change and adapt. Like that, when I shifted organization, the cultures keep changing, the bosses keep changing, the employees keep changing. So you got to either resist change or embrace change. So you need to change and adapt when you go through your vision, which is your life and what you want to become. So that's my number 4th mantra. Then you got to make sacrifices. I'm sure you doing MBA, the sacrifices you are making. I used to go to Kandy only for the weekend. I did my MBA at University of Peradeniya. Classes were weekend. The schedule was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I still remember the accounts class was on Sunday 5 to 8. So 2 years I had to make that sacrifice. So if you have to achieve something, you got to sacrifice. But when you also, with that performance, you achieve something in life, again the family enjoys that journey that you have taken. So that short-term sacrifice will bring long-term pleasure. I always believe in that. So my number 5 mantra is sacrifice. Number 6 mantra is take risk. You take calculated risk. So people said when I left from Hemas to Delmit, you are taking a big risk. True, I knew I'm going into a hot seat, but I did it to upgrade myself from a country manager to a CEO. So if you want that position, take risk. But you can't be comfort and have everything. So if you want to achieve something, yes, to take risks, calculated risk. And my 7th final mantra is have integrity. Be honest yourself. So you can fool around others, you can cheat teachers, you can cheat your boss, you can cheat your lecturers, do various things, but one person you can't cheat is yourself. So have that integrity value. For me, integrity is all about what you do when no one is watching. Be true to yourself. For me, this 7 had helped me, and I'm sure for one of them, so I put that in words, and that's how I came out with the book.
So as a veteran professional in the healthcare and pharmaceutical industry, as you correctly said, counting over 30 years of experience, what is your impact, what is your viewpoint on the impact of technology? We see that it's impacting almost every aspect of life, and I'm sure the medical devices industry is one of the most sensitive to it. So how do you cope with this ever-changing world of technology, and leaving company and industry secrets out? How do you envision to capitalize on this for your advantage?
See, there if I elaborate, I see a lot of technological and changes coming in the healthcare industry per se. I see a lot of artificial intelligence being used. One of the good examples is, if you take the industry, one of the fastest innovation was the development of the vaccine. The entire industry came together when COVID hit us. The entire pharmaceutical industry aim was to come out with the vaccines, and I have never seen an innovation coming so fast. Otherwise, it takes a long time. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it takes a long time to come out with innovation. So there will be a lot of artificial intelligence coming into play is number one. Second trend I see is there will be a lot of automation, especially in the areas of diagnostics. You will see a lot of automation coming in, which will give two advantages. One being the speed, how fast you get the results. So if you waited for a particular test for one day, in future the automation will give you faster. Number two, it will focus on accuracy. So both are relevant for diagnostic, which I see another trend, which is the automation. The third trend I see is the robotics or the computer assisted surgery. This will help a good surgeon to have a better view of that micro area and will allow him to do a better surgery, allowing the patient to have a better compliance post-surgery. That's a third trend. Fourth one in this area I would say is the genomics. They would call it the next generation sequencing. Studying your DNA will allow a medical professional to give precision medicine aimed at you. What you need is given to you, especially in the areas of infectious diseases and oncology, or as cancer you may say it. So I see these four trends are coming in, which will be the future of the healthcare industry, and we need to embrace and adapt this, otherwise we'll be left behind.
Since you spoke about innovation, so innovation is the key in any business as its strategy. So we see industry giants like Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, who also consider R&D and innovation as one of their key highlights in the business. But you correctly identified in Sri Lankan context, we cannot see that much priority for R&D and innovation. So as a CEO, how do you lead your team and organization for R&D? Do we need to relook at this aspect as a nation to grab future opportunities?
So I'll answer this question in specific to healthcare industry, because other industry the situation that Sri Lanka hold may difference. But if you take the healthcare industry, one of the reasons why we may lack R&D in the healthcare industry could be due to the global competitiveness and also the size. Because if rest of the world size versus Sri Lanka size, we are a 22 million population, so there's a size. Even if you come out with something versus the price, compared to the regional giants like India, Bangladesh and Pakistan, if you come out with saying how many people you can serve, the numbers are small and the cost, there is a distinct advantage. That time pushed us back in the, as you precisely said, on the R&D area. Moving forward, if you have to come out and encourage R&D, of course we have the human talent. I think Sri Lanka, the number one is the intellectual property of our people coming in, which will be a key advantage. Unless and if we make Sri Lanka up and serve rest of the world, the size and the competitiveness may not allow. Even in the future you will see the same trend. Unless and if you serve rest of the world. So we have to be competitive in terms of cost. Of course, we have the capital. That's the only way I see we moving out and coming out of this situation in the healthcare industry.
So, Mr. Thirusandan, we've had a long chat and we had a lot of insight from you, and we really owe a lot for what you have shared with us. So, on a concluding note, what would be your final takeaway for the future generation of corporate leaders?
To answer that, change is inevitable, which I mentioned in the book as well. That's going to continuously happen. Technological change, as I told, there will be a lot of artificial intelligence. So you need to adapt that. We being humans, even yours and my job is challenged, and we need to think, can a robot do this? So this is where if you continue to do the same thing again and again, I would suggest the future generation, your job can be done by a robotic, and there will be a robot seated in your chair. So start using your intellectual property or the God-given brain to come out with more new things, be innovative, so that the robots can't beat us. So that's a key thing for the new generation, because globally there's a lot of automation happening, and you see the change happening. I mean, today we are invoicing using robotics, which was done by a human, and these robotics, they work 24 hours. So that is one big thing. Second thing is the millennial. The workforce has changed. How our parents managed us as children is different from how you and I will manage our children. Same thing apply in office. How our bosses treated us, being Gen X bosses, we in the current generation, we can't treat the same way, because the millennial, how they act is different. So we as leaders, we need to change, and that's a message for the future as well. So these are trends that we need to do. So I see technological advancement, the small countries becoming part of the global village, so it will be global competitiveness, new workforce, more robotics. These are some of the trends, and this is going to be the way forward, and we need to be ready, thinking of that tomorrow's change. We need to be ready today, otherwise people will be caught up with surprise, and it may be too late to worry about on that day if you are not prepared now. So that will be my take-home message.
Thirusandan, thank you so much for your valuable time and invaluable input. All of us will be surely indebted, and we wish you and your family, as well as everybody in your office, all the very best, happiness, health and peace.
Thank you, and let me wish you on your journey on your MBA and to be successful future leaders. All the very best.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
with that, we come to the conclusion of our presentation on an interaction with a corporate leader.